Hey, welcome to Sally and Alan's. I have not published in a while, and I regret that being the case. Just been very busy with life and some health issues, but I'm back today. I wanted to go ahead and document some work I was doing on one of my guitars. The guitar we have in front of us is affectionately named Bebe. Bebe is a Gretsch model 2215, and I'll show you a big picture of her here so you can look at it. But this is one of their Streamliner models, and it came equipped with a Gretsch Broadtron humbucking pickup in the bridge and a P90 in the neck position. But absolutely love the combination of having a humbucker and a P90 to work with. Too cool. Really dig the P90. Of course, the humbucker and the bridge lets me do some rock tones a little heavier. And if I'm in a high noise environment where, I'm getting a lot of 60 cycle hum, I can rely on the humbucker to deal with that for me. So really like the combination of pickups on this guitar. Also just love the neck and the way it plays. It is a 24 3/4 inch scale, has a very flat, well, not super flat, but a 12-inch radius on the fretboard, much like the Gibson LP versions. So really enjoy the neck on it. Theirs is actually what they call a shallow U, which is a nice alternative to the C's that we see on most of the guitars today, and I have on my other guitars. So yeah, really enjoyed the Gretsch 2215. Was an incredibly popular model for them. No longer available new, but you'll see them on Reverb. And not an expensive guitar, but eminently playable, lovable. Now, however, Bebe has a couple of shortcomings. One of them being it is a wraparound tailpiece, and it is not independently adjustable saddles for intonation. It's one of the lightning bar style. I'll put a picture of that here in the video. But the lightning bar style, is somewhat compensated, and the little saddles are cast into the bridge, giving kind of a lightning bolt appearance to it. And they'll get you pretty close, close enough for rock and roll, as they say. But the only adjustment is on both ends of the bridge. You can adjust a screw to move it closer to the nut or further from the nut. And wiggling it back and forth, you get your intonation largely on spot. So it takes more time, and for the most part, you can get most of them there. This one did get there. The other tuning issue that I've had to deal with my friend Bebe here is they're not the super highest quality tuners. Now, for a moderately priced guitar, they are very good tuners, but I play it a lot. I've owned it for 4 years now, and it's really time to upgrade these tuning machines. So there's a lot of good machine gears out there now. I'm a little bit old school. I've kind of come to rely on Grover over the years. Although I understand Goto, Hipshot, there's a lot of really good tuner makers these days. Schaller, but I know the Grover tuners. And anytime I go to replace tuners, and I've worked professionally as a guitar tech for many years, I don't like to drill new holes in the instrument. We can drill and fill and all of that fun stuff, but my preference is to always work with existing holes when I can. And it looked like this model of Grover was going to line up with my existing holes. Otherwise, one of the things you're looking for, three things you're looking for when you select a tuner is proper shaft distance. Some are too short and they'll get you into the headstock. So you want one with a long enough shaft to get the tuning key out where it needs to be. Also, the size of the shaft here and these bushings that they come with. The import guitars, particularly some of the much less expensive ones, use a different diameter shaft than a lot of the American-made guitars had. Now this one emulates, very closely emulates a lot of the American-made guitars. So anything, you really want to be careful when you're ordering them to make sure that your tuning shaft is long enough on the key here to look for the proper shaft size and bushing size to, again, fit the holes. Now, many times back in the day, somebody would bring in an import, and the shop I worked at had a lot of tuners in stock, so people would buy a set of those, and if the shaft through the guitar head, if the hole was too small, we could go ahead and drill them out and adapt it to the other tuner. The third thing you're looking for is placement of the screw, if it has it. Now, some of the Fenders, rather than having a screw, they have little protrusions that fit into the headstock where Fender made it, and their tuners work that way. So if it looks like it doesn't have any kind of additional screw, it's probably a deal like that, particularly if you're dealing with an American-made or Mexican Fender. So take those tuners off, look at them, or just when you're ordering your tuner, order a replacement for the Fender style. So a lot of tuners will have this screw mounted at an angle one way or the other. Obviously these are straight down. I bought some Grovers like this before and they worked out okay. So I'm hoping that these will fit without having to drill and fill any holes. Basically, if say the hole was over here and I wanted to fit a tuner like this, then I would have to go ahead and drill the hole for this screw so that it'll stay locked down. And you do need to lock them down, otherwise over time this thing will move around and it just won't work. And then that leaves you with a hole in the guitar head. Well, we can go ahead and fill that hole with either wood or wood putty, but without refinishing the headstock, you can still see where it was, unless the tuner happens to cover it. So anyway, I ordered these from Amazon because they have the easy return policy. So should we get in here and I find out they're not going to fit like I think they will, we'll simply send them back to Amazon and I will look for a different pair that fit appropriately. Also, to complicate the matter, I don't have an extra set of new strings here. So I'm going to try and reuse the existing strings. All right, so we'll see if that works out for me. Worst case, I'll have to run down to the shop and pick up another set of strings. So let's go ahead, and in this instance, we're just going to take one of these off to see where it fits. Now, if I were at the shop, I have a nice little spinner tool that turns these keys for me. One of the things I was looking for in the upgrade, tuners are defined by how many times we turn this key to turn the shaft one time. And inexpensive, or even a lot of expensive tuners, will be what they call 14 to 1, 14 turns of this key to get one rotation of the shaft. For fine adjustment, the 18 to 1s are just so much nicer. So when I'm upgrading, if possible, I always try and get to an 18 to 1. Let's go ahead and grab a wrench and we will loosen this one and then pull out one of our replacements and see if we fit here. Okay, continuing on. All right. There we go. Now you can see I don't have a neck cradle at home here, so I've just rolled up a towel to sit under there. We're not doing anything that puts a lot of pressure on the neck, so that'll work just fine. Probably don't have to have anything there, but yeah, just thought we'd go ahead and do that. So then we flip this over. One of my few complaints about Bebe is she is fat. She's heavy, 8.5 pounds, which to me is heavy. I've got back issues, and boy, a lighter guitar for me is something I really appreciate. Let me get a fine Phillips screwdriver real quick. Okay, looks like this one should work for me just fine. Go ahead and loosen this up. as I say, I really don't want to drill any holes in this headstock. These are obviously imitation Grover style. What does it say on there? Well, you can read that, but I don't have my spectacles on. I have to get my glasses out and read that, who actually made that. I think there's a code there. Anyway, let's go ahead and pull one of these out and do that guy right there. See if they're going to fit for us. That will be one area of fitment we're checking for, is where that hole lines up. Of course, we also have to check the bushings in the shaft, but if these holes don't line up, I'm probably not going to go in. Oh, there you go. I'm probably not going to go any further. I'm probably just going to replace it through Amazon and get something that fits. Oh yeah, looks like we are going to be good. Yep, looks like we're spot on. Boy, you'll notice a difference weight-wise, and some people don't care for that about the Grovers. I should weigh these later. Much heavier tuning key here than this little guy was. So set that to the side for a moment. Let's go ahead and check out our bushing. A bag of goodies there. And we should have a little washer. You know, from the part number, these are supposed to be a nickel finish. Yeah, they would appear to be. This guitar originally had nickel, so I wanted to stick with that. Yeah, that is going to work out. Let's go ahead and flip it over again, and we will look at this side. All right, fingers crossed. Oops, go ahead and drop that on there first. These are a little bit different style than the other ones were, in that this, rather than being just a nut, the bushing is threaded. So we'll go ahead and put that in like that. Okay. Wow, that is looking good. That fits pretty well. Once we tighten that down, she'll be fine. The shaft is at a good distance. Let's go ahead and flip it back, put that small screw in there, and make sure if that works, we are good and we can proceed. Okay, I'm go ahead and set those guys back here. You know, I'll keep those in the shop for other projects that come along, because these tuners, like I say, are not bad. They're just not great, and they're really worse for the wear after 4 years. You know, one of the things that you get out of a good tuner is longevity. That's why when you buy a Gibson or a high-end Fender, oh yeah, that fits great. Why you buy a Gibson or a high-end Fender, those tuners are going to last for years. You know, when you buy a Squier, for instance, and Squier makes some really great guitars, definitely not bashing Squier at all. I have Squiers, I've played Squiers, worked on them, and I'm always impressed, well, usually, shouldn't say always, but usually impressed with the quality that they give you. And yeah, so I like Squier. But one of the areas they will tend to scrimp is on their tuners. All right. Okay, and that thing turns okay. Doesn't look bad. Yeah, I think we're going to call that a win and go ahead and replace the rest of these. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull these strings off and swap the other ones. You've basically seen how it happens. That thing looks a little bit at a funny angle, but the hole hit and she's tunable, so that's going to work for me. These are 18-to-1 tuners. The old ones were 14-to-1 or less. So, you know, this is such an improvement. I can deal with the small differences in appearance. That one's the original though, and it kind of sits a little funny. So anyway, I think I'm splitting hairs there. Let me go ahead and proceed, and I will be right back with you. Yes, although I ordered them from Amazon, they actually came from Stu Mack, who is a very good purveyor of luthier tools, guitar parts, that kind of thing. Not always the cheapest, but usually the best. These are Grover Original Rotomatic 102 series, 3+3 tuners, 18:1 ratio, and they are nickel finished. There we go. Memory serves, I paid just under $70 for them, like $66, $68 without tax. So yeah, I think that's a good price for a set of Grovers. Let me go ahead and tune them up and see how they play. Okay, as you can see now, we have all three of those mounted, all of those strings on. I have tightened down the bushings on that side. Gonna go ahead, make sure all of our screws are tight. Very good. All right. Did all of our cleaning while we had our strings off. Everybody is good and snug. Go ahead and flip that back over. Everything is looking good. So yeah, I think it's time to go ahead and tune her up and see how she seems. Thank you to our friends at Grover for making sure we had extra screws there. We have all of these parts that I'll bag up and put in a kit because, you know, they'll be better than what some people are playing now. So you never know. Somebody may be interested in those and perhaps we can gift them to them. But yeah, that is how we change the tuners. Looking at the rest of this here, you'll see these are the pickups I was talking about. Got the P90 in the front. We have a Gretsch Broadtron, what they call a BT2S in the rear here. This is our wraparound tailpiece with the lightning bar for intonation. You know, once these are played, you'll get a little groove where the string sets. So as we tightened up our strings, we made sure everybody was in their little groove again. And, you know, not a lot of complication there. Did go ahead, clean up the pickups and the front of the guitar a bit while we were in there. You can see I've got a couple of dings in this old girl from all of the use she's gotten, but really, really enjoy this guitar. So can't say enough good about Gretsch. I own a couple, 2 or 3 Gretsches now, and really enjoy all of them. So yeah, I'm gonna sit down, tune this up, and we will give a little feedback on what I think of the tuners that we got here from Grover. I believe these are 102Ns. I have to look to be sure. Actually, let me check that right now. Okay, so we're back at it. Now, one thing I don't think I mentioned that I will mention now, hey, this is the time to go ahead and clean your fretboard, to clean the headstock, which normally you can't get all the way to because of the strings, to go ahead and clean your pickups in places, like I say, that are normally just too hard to get at because of the strings. So we've gone ahead and removed the 3 tuners on the other side. Just went ahead and spilled the rest of my stuff because the string got caught here. So yeah, have to sort that out. Get these 3 strings back where they should belong. And let's go ahead. The Grovers, excuse me, are easy enough to figure out because they're stamped Grover, and they're also much heavier. So we'll throw those aside and go ahead and start to mount the remaining tuners. And what I'll do is, and actually in looking at it, the old tuners were very similar. The bushing actually threaded in just the same manner. The difference is, you know, the Grovers are much higher quality. And okay, well, it looks like we did come with some extra screws. Go ahead and set those there for right now. Get our bushings and washers sorted out. Okay, we've got 3 washers there, 3 screws, and this makes 3 bushings. Very kind of Grover to give us extra screws, much appreciated. And yeah, now we need to go ahead and just place them. So what we'll do, I'm going to insert these from the other side right now. Take the bushing and thread it through like this. Oop, almost forgot my washer. Go ahead and wipe that. Perfect. All right. Get one of our washers on there. Grab a bushing. Grab a nut. They were one and the same, I guess, so that was kind of a silly thing to say. But I've gone ahead and have that roughly in place. Do the same thing on the next one. And these are not staggered in any way. All of the shafts are the same length, so we don't have anything tricky here in terms of making sure we have the right one in the right spot. Some tuners, some of the fenders, for instance, are staggered. They're different lengths. You have to pay a little more attention. But these, as long as you got them on the right side, you're pretty much good. Okay. Go ahead and fit this last one. Looks like everybody's lining up just fine. What I'm going to do is make these just finger tight. That lets me go ahead and flip it over, line up my screw holes. Okay. Get those all aligned. Wow, good job. They were basically there. Did I get that right? Okay, I think we are good. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these down. Right on. Using my parallax screwdriver. I don't know if you noticed, Parallax ink. Also have my extremely cool Parallax wire tool. It's really like a mini Leatherman, but has wire stripper, wire cutter, and that kind of thing. Little grips on the end instead of the standard hardware that comes on the Leatherman. And that came from Parallax Inc. They make electronics, semiconductor electronics, learning kits, and also robotics experimenter and learning kits, which is something I had done when I was first injured. I had a great deal of time off during the recovery. Was not one for sitting around and watching television. As a young person, I had studied electronics, but that was really before semiconductor electronics were as big a thing. We were still back in the transistor age, if you will. and semiconductors were just happening. Microprocessors and microcontrollers were just a thing. And so I didn't have a lot of training in that area. So while I was injured, I took a number of the parallax courses and increased my knowledge, ended up building some robots, including their Arlo, which is their most sophisticated one. Really enjoyed that experience, but that is how I learned to program microcontrollers, and really went back to school for the electronics that I didn't have. You know, when I was 14, I picked up an amateur radio license, which formalized some of that electronics education that I'd had. Also have a broadcast license, but like I said, weren't really into the semiconductor part of it. So when I was first suffered my accident, my injury, the training programs from Parallax gave me a chance to go back and learn the things that I hadn't, including how to program embedded microcontrollers and things like that. Well, that guy's going to be difficult to do. Hey, this part's going to be kind of boring, me straightening out these old strings, so I'm going to pause the video for a moment while I do that. Okay, let me adjust that a little bit. Yeah, it's a little better. There we go. Okay, we've gone ahead and replaced 3 on this side. Looking pretty good, working pretty good. You know, I go ahead and secure these fairly tightly. I mean, don't over crank them by any means, but this is what's really holding it fast, not the tiny screw in back. The tiny screw in back does keep it from rotating, but you know, you want these fastened down good. Also, when you're placing these washers, the nice ones on the Grover, both sides are not the same. They're actually beveled. They have a top side and they have a flat side. The flat side goes against the wood and the beveled side goes up. Makes it look nicer. And if you turn them the other way, not only do they not look as good, but you know, you've got the round side pressing down against the wood, and that's just no bueno. Not as good. Okay, so got these done. Since I want to reuse my strings, and because I have a wraparound tail piece, I'm going to go ahead and string this side up before I do this side. The wraparound tail piece, they're pulled against the post by string tension. So if you cut off all the strings, they just fall. And then you need 3 hands when you're restringing it, because you have to hold the bridge in place while you get some string tension on it. So many things I've found with stringed instruments, even if you're replacing all of them, it's easier to do one at a time or a few at a time and not just take them all off and redo it. You'll save yourself a lot of grief by not doing that. In the beginning, I would have just cut them all off, switched all the keys, redone it. And not that that doesn't work, it works just fine. But you also save yourself time and sometimes a little grief by doing either one or a few at a time and letting the other ones continue to hold the tension. I mean, there's a number of things later on that you may see that you go, oh, I'm glad I did it that way. So, little tip there. All right, we will go ahead, restring this part, flip it over, and do the other side. Okay, that all worked out really well. I've been playing that guitar for a number of weeks now. Absolutely love the new Grover tuners. The 18-to-1 makes tuning so much easier, and I have the tuning stability I had hoped for. Hey, thanks a lot for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.